Hello, everyone, and welcome to Inside Leather History, a Fireside Chat. I'm Doug O'Keefe, and I am the host and the producer of the Fireside Chats, which are a program of the Leather Archives and Museum. Today, I have the honor of being able to interview Thorsten Buhl, who's in Graz, Austria. Thorsten was Mr. Leather Europe. Which year were you?
2015.
And you were also Mr. Leather Austria before that. Which year were you that?
The same year, 2015.
Okay, very good. Now, you're located in Graz, Austria. Where is that located for the international audience?
Well, it's pretty much in the middle of Austria. It's between Salzburg and Vienna. We are close to the Hungarian and Slovenian border, and the Adriatic Sea is not so far away.
Sounds very beautiful to me. I hope I can come and visit sometime.
Oh, you're welcome, Doug.
I hope so. Let's begin at the very beginning. Tell me a little bit about your early life growing up in Austria. What kind of circumstances did you have?
Here, I must correct you because I didn't grow up in Austria. I'm original German, so I grew up in Germany.
Oh, okay.
And I moved here 15 years ago. So I've been living in Graz in Austria for 15 years. And I grew up in the southern part of Germany, which is not far away from Austria, actually. And I think the mentality is very, very close. The Bavarians, the Southern Germans, the Baden-Württemberg, the Austrians, the Swiss people are very, very similar when it comes to the mentality.
Why did you move to Austria?
Because of love.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, the best reason to move, right?
But then let's talk a little bit about your growing up in Germany. What were your circumstances?
I grew up in a very small village with about 700 inhabitants, which is a really nice location nowadays. When I look back and when I visit, it's really nice because it's located on a hill directly in the nature with really nice and friendly people. Everyone knows everyone. It's very, very harmonic being there. But you can imagine growing up, being a young boy and noticing that you're gay, it's a little bit different and a little bit difficult to grow up in a small village like this, because I was, and I still am the only gay in town, because I'm the only one who ever had his coming out and stepped out of the closet. So it took me a rather long time to be ready for this. So it was interesting for me because there were so many emotions involved when you first notice that you're gay, that you're into men, and you think you're the only one in the whole universe happening this, and then you discover that you're into kink and into leather as well, and then you're totally lost in your closet and you try to be as invisible as possible because you don't want anyone to notice, because you're afraid of what the surrounding, what the environment will say about it. So it took me a very long time to be ready to step out of the closet and to be a proud and self-confident gay man and gay leather man.
Tell us more about that. What was going on in your coming out?
When I first discovered that I was gay, it also took me a long time to process that one, because I saw some pictures of two. I remembered that one picture of two gay men kissing, or two men kissing, and it was in a normal newspaper, in this typical newspaper that old ladies are reading with all the royal family stuff and everything. And I read it. I saw it when I visited my grandma, and when I ran through the magazine, and it was kind of like an advice what you do when you discover that either your son or your husband is into men. I cannot really remember, but I was immediately attracted to that photo. And I thought, okay, I'm not the only one, because there must be some others around. Otherwise, there wouldn't be an advice in a magazine like this. So I started exploring a little bit. I went to a gay party, which went there with two of my friends, of my girlfriends. And we went there, and I was really attracted to everything. And the dynamic was really special for me, and it was really cool. But I wasn't yet ready to tell everyone, even not the two girlfriends I was with, because it was like we went there and we said, oh, it's a gay party, look at this, blah, 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 something like that. And then I also remember the Oktoberfest, because I was playing in the music chapel of our village. and I was playing the trombone, and we are wearing the traditional costumes for this music chapel. So we visited the Oktoberfest, and we were part of the parade in Munich to open for the opening ceremony. And as you may be aware, on the first day of the Oktoberfest, the Leather Club of Munich, they always organize this event, this get together in one of the big tents, and the guys are wearing either leather like this or the traditional lederhosen and the Bavarian style of leather. And we visited the tent, and I was immediately attracted by all of the leathermen I saw there. It was just amazing. And that was maybe the time I thought, okay, now I should be ready, because there are so many around me and everyone seems to be so nice and friendly. And I cannot say welcoming because I didn't try to enter yet. But I thought everyone is like normal, whatever normal is. But for me, in my view, it was normal. And I thought, okay, now I should be ready to try to discover more and also to tell my family and my friends about it.
But there must have been something that attracted you to that particular group.
I noticed very early that I was into leather, but I couldn't describe it by that time. I only remember the leather gloves of my mom. She was wearing in wintertime. They were super soft and super shiny black leather. And I was always attracted by those gloves. And I liked to touch them and to wear them when I was a little child, I would say. So I didn't have the sexual attraction to it yet. But I really liked the material. And I also liked touching leather jackets, for example. I was very attracted by it. I was very attracted by leather bikers that I saw around, also in the village, like neighbors who were riding the motorbike with their leather clothes on. And when I was growing up in the late 80s and starting of the 90s, all the boy bands, there was usually that guy in leather pants, or also the presenters on TV. It was kind of fashion wearing like leather pants. So I was really attracted by that. And step by step, and the older I was and the more I grew up, I was like, okay, that's also kind of a sexual connection for me. And that's why I was attracted to that group on the Oktoberfest. And I was like, yeah, I want to be one of them.
How did you take the next step?
I remember when I was probably 16 or 17 years old, and when I was starting my training on a job, I was working as a customer service representative for a company, and I earned my first money. And not far away from that company, there was this motorcycle shop, not only for motorcycles, but also for the gear. So when I had some money left over, I went there and I bought my first leather chaps. I remember that. And I was so nervous going there because I thought everyone knows that I'm into leather and that I'm gay and that I really want to have those leather chaps because of that. Of course, no one did, because they wanted to sell the motorcycle gear. And I said, yeah, I'm not a motorcycler myself, but I want to go with a friend, so I need some clothes. They said. I bought my first leather chaps and I was really happy with them. I don't have them anymore. I sold them one day, I think, but I was really happy with them. That was the next step. I wanted to own a piece of gear and to get the feeling of wearing gear. Of course, all by myself. So you discover first by yourself, and then you move on.
How did you move on?
So the next step was register for one of those online dating platforms. Those days it was called worldleatherman.com, what nowadays is Recon. So I had a profile, and then I started chatting with some guys, but only chatting. That was the first thing. And I think the first guy I met was close to the city where I was studying. So we got together in his apartment, and he told me a lot of stuff, and we were easily talking before we had a kind of sexual interaction. And it was really nice because he was very, very kind, very, he explained a lot of things before we started. So that was really, I had a good feeling about that. And then I stepped on and I met the next guy. I still remember that one because it was the first ever experience that I had in a sling and with a whip involved and things like that. But still, it was really nice. I really felt comfortable. I never were afraid of it. So I was really like, okay, that's a good step. I feel well like this, and I want to do this, and I want to be a part of this community.
You were very young, though, by the sound of it.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't. Maybe I was stepping no quite forward because I made this training when I was 16, 17. I told you I bought my jabs. Then I was 22 when I entered the university for my studies. And then I was about 25 when I had those encounters. So I was not really young. It really took me a long time until I was confident enough to do that.
So tell me a little bit more about that exploration. How did you learn about the various activities and the things that you liked?
About the various activities I learned because I bought a book that I still own. It's a really good book, but it's not published anymore, or you cannot really find it in the shops anymore. It's a German book, and it's about various experiences of guys written down. And it's kind of like they explain a kink or a fetish, and then there are guys who are talking about it or who are writing about it in that case. So I read that book and I was really, I knew, okay, I can imagine that one, but I really can't imagine doing this and stuff like that. So that was my first idea of the kinks, well, whatever is available. And then with dating guys, I tried out some stuff with them and I knew, okay, I'm attracted to that, but I don't really like this one. Like electroplay, I tried it once and I was not really attracted by it and I never tried it again yet. So as soon as I feel safe and I feel comfortable with trying something out and also step beyond my limits and try out some stuff, I'm happy with it. And you can try as much as you like, as long as you feel safe with it. And if you like it or not, it's your choice and it's up to you.
Well, what were some of the things that you discovered that you liked?
Well, a big portion of SM about the sadism and masochism, about submissive and dominant, about the role play, about the power exchange in it. I really like that. I really like when leather guys are keeping their leather on during play and not stripping off. I like when the submissive starts to strip off on command when the dominant wants him to do so. I'm a lot into pain, into whipping, stuff like that, and cock and ball torture, for example, nipple play. All of the stuff that involves kind of this role play of one guy being dominant and dominates the other one who is serving him and tries to serve him for his pleasure with everything that is involved in it.
What were some of the things you discovered that you did not like?
Like I told you already, the electro play stuff, I really don't like. I cannot handle or I cannot process that pain. And especially when the pain comes when you're not ready for it or whatever. So I really didn't enjoy that part. It was okay. I tried it out and I said, no, I don't really like that. And other than that, I really like many things when it comes to SM. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What are your top three?
My top three? I would say it's whipping, it's tit torture, and I would also say it's like the pet play, like dog play and pony play. I really like that because there is a special dynamic in submissive and dominance when you do that.
Now, in addition to the SM side of the leather community, there is also a different side to that. How did the rest of the community grow for you?
A part of the leather, you mean?
Yeah.
So like rubber and puppies and...
Well, I'm looking more at the community side of that. Mm-hmm. How did that evolve for you?
For me, okay. The first encounters were in private, so one-to-one. We met on the internet, and then we met privately, and then it was this Oktoberfest event. So I knew about the clubs. I learned about the clubs, that there are clubs, and it was not before I moved to Graz, so 15 years ago, that when I arrived here, we went to Vienna to visit the Heart On, it's called. That's the club location of the LMC, LMC Vienna, the Leather and Motorcycle Club community. Yeah. So we went there and I was in full leather gear and I really enjoyed going out for the first time, like in public. It was also a big step for me. And we went there. It's kind of in the basement, and you go down the stairs, and then you go to the cashier desk, and you get your number, and then you go inside. But I was so excited. Then we stepped inside, and there was this typical folk music, and everyone was wearing Bavarian clothes and Bavarian lederhosen. And I was so disappointed because I didn't check the program before, and they had this kind of Oktoberfest thing going on that weekend, and I expected to see many leather men, many leather guys. I was wearing my best leather I had. Then there was this Oktoberfest thing, and then the president stepped up and welcomed us. He showed us around the whole location. He showed us all of the different rooms and things. And then he also kind of excused for this event, and he invited us to come for the next weekend because there was a leather event, and he was so friendly and welcoming, and everyone was. So the next weekend we tried once again, and it was really nice because there were the guys in their leather uniforms or in rubber or whatever. And it really felt nice. And it was a nice socializing, having a beer, talking, meeting different new people. And that was my first experience in the LMC Vienna, in the Hard-On. And I'm attached ever since to that club.
Were you ever formally mentored?
No, not really. I never had a mentor. I still have many guys who explained a lot to me, who helped me in different kind of ways, but I don't have this typical mentor or one guy who took me by his hand and explained me and guided me through. So I never really had that. So I took bits and pieces from all of the different guys that I know, and that's how I got my knowledge from.
Tell us a little bit about how you began to explore your local contests.
When I first visited the leather bar or the leather bars, it was then not only the one in Vienna, but we visited also the one in Munich, which is close by from here. So I learned about the title holders. I saw that there are guys wearing the sash and having a title. So I tried to understand what their task is, what their mission is, why there are title holders. And the first real one that I met was, I think, one of the guys from Baden-Württemberg, so from my hometown, because it was the Mr. Leather Austria contest that I visited, or the pre-contest, because on the contest night we had something else going on, but the weekend before, and there were interviews going on, and the three guys were interviewed, and everyone told about their vision and their mission, what they want to accomplish, why they step up to be one of the title holders. That was an interesting experience, and I thought long about it, because that night I was a little bit disappointed by the arguments and by the visions and by the speeches they had, because I thought, okay, I know Austria is a really cool location. In the heart of Austria, we have Vienna with a really nice leather fetish community, BDSM community around. I know many guys in Austria itself. And if you are a representative, you should embrace the whole country. You should embrace all of the kinksters around, and you should be there for them all. But I never heard of them before as an Austrian kinkster, and the arguments they had, it was more like, yeah, I want to be a title holder for Vienna, and in Vienna we do this, and in the Hard-On we do that. Coming not from Vienna, but from a different city, I was like a little bit disappointed, because I thought, how do you want to involve us being there in Salzburg, being in Linz, being in Graz, wherever, or even in the smaller cities or even villages? And so I was talking to some guys, and I was like, oh, it was not the best impression I had. And then they told me, then do it better. You can always criticize, but you have to do it better. And I was like, no, never. I would never even think about it. But more and more guys told me, yeah, why don't you try? Why don't you try the experience? It's not about winning, it's about the experience itself. So I decided that maybe 3 months before the next contest that I would participate and I would compete for it.
Tell us more about that. How did you begin to prepare?
I was in touch with a few guys via, I think it was Facebook by that time. They wanted to run with two guys, one ran for the Mr. Hamburg title, one ran for the Mr. Baden-Württemberg title, and we had kind of this group for experience exchange and how they prepare and how I prepare and how is your community doing this and that. So we had a really nice conversation about for many weeks. I was reading books because there are some books available about that. And I was more and more visiting Vienna. I was more and more visiting the bar and talk to the people and try to understand what their expectation is of a title holder. Because I wanted to understand what people expect from me if I were a title holder. Not what I expect from myself, but what the people expect. So that was my preparation by that time. I started to take photos in my gear. I started to run a Facebook page. Also doing this for kind of like try to be a role model and inspire others. That's what I'm still doing when I post my pictures on Instagram or somewhere. I try to inspire the people to do it, to be open about it, not to be closeted with your fetish or your kink. If you feel well in public, show them and inspire them to do that as well, because I cannot be the only one expecting a leather scene, expecting a lively leather scene and not being part of it. So you have to be part of it. You have to be that part in that big chain that you expect there to be. So that was my time of preparation. And when it was already close to competition, I visited, I think it was Mannheim for the election of the Mr. Leather Baden-Württemberg to see an election like this before to know what is going on. That was a really good experience. That was the first time I met the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. I was like, okay, that's interesting. Tell me more about it. So I step by step, I learned more about the whole of the community.
When you were exploring what the community wanted, what did you discover? What did they want?
They want more leather and kink events. They want to have more possibility to go out in leather, to be in leather, but also to have a safe space when they do that. They want to have a safe space for being out in leather, going out in leather, but also playing leather. That's the most important thing, I think, that I learned. Because in Vienna, we have the hard-on and we have the Eagle. We have the Eagle bar, which is not a typical leather bar anymore. Maybe it was before, I don't really know. But nowadays it's more like a cruising bar. If you go there in leather, maybe you're lucky when one or another guy is in leather, but most of the guys are coming for cruising. It's a nice, cool bar with a really historical touch because you can see all of the posters from IML 1983 on the walls and things like that. But you don't have that much possibilities to go out in leather except going to the hard-on. The hard-on is the only thing. So I learned and I experienced for myself, yes, there should be more and we should do more about that.
Interesting. So tell me about your actual contest. How was that done?
That was done by 4 different weekends before the main contest. And on the 4 different weekends before, it was usually on the Saturdays, there was a leather event going on in the bar. And the contestants were there, mingled with the people there and talked to the people. And the people already could vote on those 4 nights before the contest. So that counted, I think, 1/3 of the whole counting for the election.
Oh, wow.
So I think that's a really good idea. You are not on stage. You don't have to be, you represent yourself in one by one talking. You introduce yourself to the people there. Everyone has a chance to talk to you because for the competitions, usually there are 3, 4, 5, however, guys standing on a stage and you personally don't have a chance to talk to them. So that's a really cool idea about the Austrian system. You have 4 Saturdays the chance to talk to those guys, to get to know them better. And you can already vote for them. So that's also motivation for the contestants to mingle and to talk to everyone. And then it's the main evening, the main night, where you also step up on the stage, a typical contest night where you get questions thrown on you and kind of an interview. You have to ask, you have to answer certain things. You have to represent yourself in different gear. But there was not, and there is still no performance, which I really like because I cannot dance, I cannot sing, I just can clap with my hands, and that's all. So I prefer just the interview type of contest and a speech or something. I like to talk to the people, involve the people, and no performance. So that was the Austrian style when I was elected. And then I think already 1 or 2 years later, we started to enter with this pre-contest, with the pre-contest nights. We went to Graz, we went to Salzburg, and we went to Linz. So we visited the different bigger cities in Austria with the contestants. And the people there could also vote, because not everyone from Salzburg, Graz, Linz will automatically be in Vienna for the contest night. Yeah. So that was a kind of good idea to involve all of the different towns, different cities, to participate in the vote.
Now, you've mentioned there was a lot of audience voting, but did you have a jury that interviewed you and made a choice?
Nope.
Oh, wow.
Not those days. I think nowadays, last year, they had a judging panel, but during my days it was a totally public vote.
Wow. Now, why do you think you were set above? Why did you get more votes, do you think?
I think I was authentic enough. I didn't pretend to be someone on the stage. I was just me. I was just like Thorsten. You either like me and you vote for me, or you don't like me and you don't get anyone else. It's me, and that's it. So I didn't try to pretend to be the hunky leather man with a dark manly voice or something like that. It's just me, and that's it. And I think that's why I won the contest.
Now, how was the winning night?
It was really overwhelming for me because it was very close with the other guys. The other guys were strong as well, so it was not clear from the very beginning. So it was very exciting. And it was also a little side story, is that because I'm German, and when I speak German, you hear me in Austria being a German, because I have my German dialect. I don't speak Austrian. I maybe speak Swabian, my home dialect, but they won't understand it here. So I speak in High German, and that's already a little bit of difference. And that was my thinking. Is it possible for a German guy to win the Austrian title, because you can hear from 100 yards that I'm German? So that was a little bit the exciting part. The other strong guy, the other contestant, he was from Vienna, and he was already well known. He had another title before, so it was a really strong competition for me. And that's why it was very overwhelming when I heard the second runner-up, and when I heard the first runner-up, you already know that you won. And so it was like, oh my God, really? So I was like, wow. It was a lot of pressure that I took on myself, which in one moment was gone, and it was just a happy night and a happy morning and a happy brunch the next day with all the guys, and driving back from Vienna to Graz, starting to realize what happened, and starting to realize, okay, now you have to do what you said you will do. So now the work will start.
Tell me about the work. What work did you do with your title?
So for me, it was important to publicly speak about it, to break down the barriers between everyone, also in the gay community, but also just the people all around us, to talk about us leather people, to talk about our community, to also talk about not only the leather fetish, the rubber fetish, but also all of the different kinks, the play possibilities, everything. So breaking down those barriers and try to be more close to the people by explaining, of course, keeping certain secrets, because it should still be interesting, right? You shouldn't tell everything, but you can educate the people a lot, that they don't have the pressure. Yep, the pressure anymore. And that was what I started to do. I had the real good chance that I know some people from newspaper, or my partner knows many people from newspaper and media. So I had the chance to give interviews, which were published even in a normal Sunday newspaper here in Graz. And a friend of us, she's doing interviews for a local TV station. and it's really local and regional somewhere in a corner of Austria. But it was the perfect stage for me because the people listening are just like my parents or my parents-in-law. So those were the people I wanted to talk to. I don't need to talk to the other leather guys because they know what I'm talking about. So I sat there in my full leather gear, and Andrea, she was the presenter. She asked me just normal questions, and it was really nice to openly talk and to always have my mom in the head and think about, okay, I'm telling her now, and I try to explain what I'm here for and what I'm doing with my title and everything. So that was my main task, what I wanted to do. I want to educate the people, just the people next door about what we are doing.
Do you feel you were successful doing that?
I think so, yes, because in the end, everyone in my company knew about me, and everyone in the neighborhood knew about me, and everyone in my hometown knew about me, and everyone was really open and friendly, and there were no real barriers. There was almost no negative feedback about it. So I really felt well, and I thought, okay, I really accomplished that one, and I also accomplished starting to go out from Vienna with the leather events, starting to do something in Graz, to do something in our gay club, to organize a leather social in our home, to invite all of the kinksters that I knew from Graz, and also the guys from Vienna came, and we had a good time by socializing at home before going to the scene, going to the gay bars and showing up there in our gear. That was also a good feeling to do something to what the people wanted. They wanted to go out in Graz in leather as well, and not only traveling to Vienna or even to Berlin, like everyone wants to travel to Berlin when you're in Europe. So I wanted to give the people a chance not to travel to Vienna, not to travel to Berlin, but taking the tram for 2 stations and go out in leather as well. So those were my 2 main tasks, and I think I was really successful in doing that.
But very quickly, you went on to do the Mr. Leather Europe contest. Why did you choose to do that?
Because I wanted to step up and represent my country also in the European contest. And you only have the chance to do it once while you're a title holder. So you cannot wait for the next year, because then your successor will have a chance to enter the contest. So I was elected in June for the Mr. Leather Austria, and the next one was in October already. So only a few months later, I had to decide if I want to compete or not. And coincidentally, it was organized in Vienna, because it's always together with the annual general meeting of the ECMC. That's the European Confederation of Motorcycle Clubs. So all of the different clubs are joined together in the ECMC, and they are holding their general meeting once a year. And together with that meeting, they also elect the Mr. Leather Europe. So you have a big audience of different European leather guys coming to that event. And it was luckily in Vienna, because I also had a big Austrian audience, of course. So it was really nice to represent Austria, especially when it's in Vienna, and to step up as a contest for the Mr. Leather Europe.
How many contestants were there?
I think we were about 8 to 10. I don't remember the exact number, but it was between 8 to 10 contestants.
Now, how different a contest was Mr. Leather Europe compared to your local contest?
It was much bigger, with bigger audience. It was in a different location, because the Austrian contest is usually held in the Hard-On, in our club local, and that one was in a big event location. We had a wonderful drag queen presenting the night, Lucy McEvil. She's beautiful. She's really great. And it was everything was much bigger in scale. Everything was much bigger, and I was even more excited about that one as well. But it was not so much different than the Austrian contest, because we were asked questions on the stage, and there was the interview and a small speech on stage, but also no performance. So I was happy again about that one, because I just had to step up and be myself, and that was it. So that was good.
What was your greatest challenge in that contest?
To compete with 8 to 10 really great guys who I was friend with, because as European misters, back in those days, it's now 7 years ago already, there weren't that many, because there was just one for a country. And that was many times also title holder for Mr. Fetish, embracing all of the fetishes. Nowadays, we have Mr. Rubber, we have Mr. Bear, we have Mr. Leather, we have Mr. Puppy, la la la. So there are much more. By that time, we were 10 or 12 or maybe 15 guys, and we were really bonded together because we met on every event and we were together all the time. So it was hard to think about those guys as a kind of a competition. They are not my competitors; they are my friends. And that was then hard to say, okay, you have to vote for me because I'm better because of this and this and this. I'm not better. I'm one of those great guys, and that was really hard. It was not maybe Austria. Yeah, it was a competition. There were competitors, and I wanted to win. But that time I had the Sylvain from France, I had Yves from Belgium, I had Marco from Italy, and we were all really, really good friends. So it was hard to stand there and say, you have to vote for me because I'm better than the others. I'm just another guy. Up to you, whoever you like best, you choose, and that's it.
Why do you feel you won?
I don't know. To be honest, I don't know, because Marco is my first runner-up and Sylvain is my second runner-up. They were as good as me. They are as handsome as me. We are all the same. So maybe it was just this little portion of more Austrian audience. I don't know. I really cannot tell why I was elected. Maybe we have to ask the others what their impression was, but I really cannot tell you.
Now, what was your work as Mr. Leather Europe? What did you do?
I wanted to continue what I started 4 months ago, because it was not that long ago that I won the Austrian title. And I also wanted to build bridges between all of the different leather clubs in the different countries, that they are working stronger together and being more involved, because that was also the time when, for example, the Scandinavian countries left the ECMC, then the Munich club left the ECMC, and it was a little bit sad to see many also old clubs, very traditional clubs, leaving the ECMC. So I wanted to be more present for the ECMC, representing especially the ECMC, the club itself, and visit as many cities and as many small events as possible to let everyone the impression that they are involved. So not only going to big events where everyone is going, but you also go to the very small events. You go with your sash to, the first one was Padua, the Leather Friends Italia. They are a really nice, super cool leather club. Very small, but they organize regular meetings, which are really nice, which are really familiar, because you go for pizza and you talk there and you have a pizza, then you change in your gear and then you have a cool night. So that was my first event that I visited, this really small leather event in Padua. And I continue to try to be on many small events and have everyone involved and embrace all of the leather clubs. But of course, in the beginning, you think theoretically what you want to achieve. You have a lot of ideas. But then you are invited to go here and there, and you have to be there, and you present here and there. And you don't really have much time to sit down and do interviews anymore, or talk to people anymore, because you are always on the hunt. You're always on the run. You're always traveling around. So that's a little bit sad. You want to accomplish a lot, but you don't have the time to do that. So you better wait until your tight year is over, and then you use all of the contacts and all of the friendships you made during your year, and then you really start working, because then you can accomplish what you want to achieve.
You mentioned that a number of groups left the EEMC. Why were they doing that?
I'm not exactly sure. There were some arguments also about the organization of the Mr. Leather Europe competition, about the annual general meeting, because it's always a big task for a club to do that, because you never know how many people will really attend, if it really works out, if you invest a lot of money and then maybe not so many people are showing up. So those were some of the arguments. Maybe there should be some kind of restructuring of the whole thing. And also, it's for the Scandinavian, I know they have a really strong bonding up there, like the Norwegian, the Swedish, the Finnish. the Danish, they have their SLM, they have their local clubs, they bond together. And maybe they didn't see that many benefits being in the ECMC because they have a very strong Northern German bonding as well. They have a very good confederation working together, and one after the other left, and it was really sad to see them going.
Wow. How is the EEMC today?
Today, we know after the passing of Daniel Dumont, who was always the big fish of the ECMC, and may he rest in peace. He was a great guy.
Yes.
It's a little bit hard to structure it again and to find the perfect way how to structure it. Currently, they are thinking about having 3 guys doing the presidential part for different tasks. And I think it's really good because it cannot be only one guy taking care of everything, taking care of everyone, and taking care of all of the leather clubs and understanding and talking to everyone. So it's important that there are more, because then you have more ideas, you have more benefits from everyone having a different knowledge of people and different knowledge, local knowledge as well. So I think that's a really good approach. And they are kind of, after, of course, the pandemic and everything, not being able to travel, not being able to really hold a general meeting in person, in life. It's very hard to restructure at the moment, but I think they are doing very well, because nowadays you have the newsletters, you are more involved, you know what is going on. And now I think they are looking for another team member for the presidential part. The next AGM will be in Manchester at the beginning of October. Yes. So we will see what happens then. So it's kind of a big change at the moment, and I hope it's a change for the better, and I hope it's a change for involving again more people and to finding or to showing more benefits to the clubs left. Maybe they're coming back, and maybe we will be stronger after that.
You also competed at IML.
I did.
Tell us about that experience.
Well, that was totally different to what I ever did before. Because you hear a lot of rumors, especially here in Europe. You hear a lot of rumors about IML. You know that the American scene is maybe a little bit different, that the mentality is different. And then it's a really, really exciting experience, especially in the beginning when the WhatsApp group starts to evolve and there are more title holders coming in and you're exchanging and you're preparing for it, and you read a lot of books about it, and you hear a lot of rumors, and then you know who your judge will be, and you know there will be a big stage and a big theater, and it's much bigger than whatever you experienced before, and there are 60 or 70 guys competing from various countries, and it's really huge. It's tremendous. It's mind-blowing.
I'm curious, what rumors did you hear?
Well, for example, about the interviews, about what they will ask you in the interviews, that it's a lot about the history of IML, and you should know all of the former IML title holders by name and perfectly if you know the first and second runner-up in every year and stuff like that. So you're really kind of excited, and you start reading and studying, and you're not sure if it's true or not, because you don't know what they are looking for or what the judges have as a guideline. So it's a little bit it was a big black box for me, stepping up and being a contestant. And the only thing was, again, just be yourself, because you cannot be anyone else, and whatever will happen, take it as a good experience and cherish the experience that you make.
What do you feel you gained by doing the International Mr. Leather?
I think, again, the awareness of being yourself, and don't take too much or don't care too much about what others say and how others act and how others prepare, because everyone has a different approach and everyone has a different life and a different coming from and a different vision. So you shouldn't be too much involved in other people's preparations, in other people's thinking and all of the stuff. So that was one thing that I gained as an experience. And I also got even more self-confident, because you have to be there on stage in a jock strap and nothing else for pecs and personality. And that really takes balls to do that. It's not so easy to be in this huge theater and you have a beautiful audience because you know many of the guys, and then you have to be there in your jockstrap and present yourself. And that was really cool because it was a good experience to be confident for yourself, but it's also very positive when it comes to body shaming, because there is no body shaming. You are yourself, you present yourself the way you are, and as long as you feel comfortable, or maybe not too comfortable, but you still can step up, and everyone is respected, and all of the contestants are respected, and that was a really good experience for me.
How did you place at IML?
I made it to the top 20, and I think I was on number 5.
Wow.
That was really cool. It was really good.
Yeah.
It was really worth the effort.
Now, in all of your contest journeys, from your local to Mr. Leather Europe to IML, what do you feel was the best part of those contests?
I think it were the pre-contest nights for my very first title, because you don't have the experience, you're totally unexperienced, you step into the whole world and you talk to the people. So that was the best part for me, because I learned so much in those 4 nights with talking to those people. Because then you were elected, you had the first title, you had the first sesh, and then you're already in this whole thing. You're already in the whole game. And then you have the next sesh, and with the sesh you travel somewhere and you're still the title holder, and you're in the whole dynamic. But in the beginning, you're not in the dynamic, you don't know what will happen. So that was the most exciting part for me, the very first steps in the contest.
Is there anything you wish you had done differently?
Not really. There was actually this year in the IML judging panel that question popping up every once in a while, if you regret something. And I asked myself, and I don't regret anything. Maybe I should have been more brave with my coming out earlier. Maybe I lost a few really precious years. That's the only thing what I regret, that I should have made different. But by the time I did it, it was just not the time for it. So still, I don't regret being late with my coming out, with telling everyone, and with the first experiences. Everything is okay like it is, and all the steps form what has been my life so far. So I don't regret anything.
Now, you just mentioned that you were a judge for the 2022 IML here in Chicago. Mm-hmm. Tell us about that. How did that feel for you?
It was amazing to be asked to be a judge. I was really very honored, because I know it's once in a lifetime, and you are really respected as a part of the leather community when you're asked to be a judge. So I was really happy to be asked beginning of 2020 to be a judge. And then the whole pandemic thing started. So I prepared for more than 2 years for the whole thing, like all the contestants preparing 2 years for that event going on. But it still is a big thing for me, and I'm still feeling very honored to be part of the IML judging panel. And that's maybe one thing that for the Europeans, it's not as mind-blowing as for the Americans, because my local club, the LMC Vienna, they didn't really recognize, or they didn't really see what the meaning is of being an IML judge. Even though I was already in Chicago, like the president asked me if I will come this weekend to the local club for an event, and I was a little bit disappointed, because I thought, okay, this is a really big thing in my leather life, and you don't even know about it, even though I told you about it, and even though you could read everywhere about it. That was an interesting experience for me, that the locals didn't really recognize what it meant. And for me, it was really a big thing. And also for everyone who attended in Chicago, and everyone involving in the whole process knew that it was a big thing. And I really felt honored. And it was a good experience for me to be on the other side of the table during the interviews, to be in front of the stage, not on the stage, for judging, to hear the different visions and ideas of all of the contestants during the interview, how they performed during the interview, how they performed on the stage, to get the whole picture of everyone.
Yeah.
Even though there were 70 people, and it's a lot of work to do for the interviews and to find the right choice. It was interesting to see that you don't get any guidelines from IML. That was new for me. So it's up to you. You are chosen for this IML judging panel to have your opinion on who is the next international Mr. Leather. That's the big honor, but that's also a very, very good experience. That it's your opinion counts, your vote counts. That was really cool, and it was special during the whole process, but then also for the top 20, because for the top 20 you start from the beginning again, and it has to be very quick, and you just get the impression you give your vote, you have the impression you give your vote, and then you think, oh my god, now I have to be careful because my vote counts who the next international Mr. Leather will be. That was really, really fun. I really enjoyed it. It was no stress at all. It was a big pleasure for me. I really had fun the whole week.
That's wonderful. What are your thoughts on the winner?
Yeah, I'm very happy, of course, that it's a European, because it was time to bring the title back to Europe after Eric in 2011. So it was really high time. And he's a great guy. So I really like Gael. I met him half a year after he was elected in Belgium during the non-foursome event, the not official foursome event in Berlin. He was so disappointed because a few days after he was elected, everything shut down and there was a big lockdown, and he didn't have a chance to represent anything, to do anything. So I think it was the first time he was wearing his sash during this unofficial event in Berlin. And we had a really nice talking, and we were in touch ever since. And he has a really good idea about his project with combining all of the different fetishes, and also combining to involve everyone, and especially with his background where he's from, it's a big plus for him to be ready to involve everyone. Absolutely. So that's why I'm really happy about him. He's not the typical muscular stereotype guy, but he's the really handsome leather guy, looking great in his leather. He's very, very sympathetic. He's a nice, friendly guy, and I'm sure he will do a great job.
We all do. I think so too.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what advice can you offer someone new coming into the leather kink scene?
Start slowly, start carefully, start like being with a distance first. That's what I did. So just look at everything and don't dive into it. That's what I wouldn't do, because maybe it's too much at once if you directly dive into the community and you're directly in the middle of it and you're directly in the center, because then maybe disappointment will be higher. Instead you start from the edges and you start to meet people. You learn how everything is done or not done, how everything works, how everything functions, and then it's easier to step up, to make first friends. The friends will guide you, will show you around, you will meet other people through those people. And I think it's easier than diving into the center, and maybe you're more disappointed because then you're new and maybe not all the people will talk to you because you are the new face, and then you will go back and say, it's not really something for me. Maybe you should really start from the edge and make your way to it, because when you're open to it and when you're enthusiastic about leather and enthusiastic about the kinks, and you know who you are and you're true to yourself, everyone else will feel it. And I know that the leather community is very welcoming, very open, and they guide you through and take you on your hands. And you don't have to wear Langlitz, you don't have to wear Wesco, you don't have to wear the all of the brands. Just if you wear leather pants, if you don't have wear leather vest or whatever, just come as you are, and you will evolve, because it will be step by step. Like a Langlitz, it's something you wish for a long time, and then one day you will manage to buy it, and you are really proud of it. If you start wearing Langlitz when you're 20, and when you step up into the leather community and you're already in the center, so what is left for you to explore, or what is left for you to achieve, or what is your goal then? that's sometimes what I think when I see all of the young people already involved in everything and wearing the full gear and the gear that is as costful as a few rents for a few months of a flat or something like that. Yes. So I would give the advice, take it step by step. Find people who you like, who can guide you, or just be open, of course. Don't be too shy. You don't have to be shy. You go to an event, you go to a bar, and you talk to the people because they are waiting to talk to other people. And everyone will be friendly, and leather men and rubber men and all of the different guys, they won't bite you. Maybe if you want it, yes, but otherwise they will be happy to talk to you, to have a view with you and to explain. That's my experience. So take it easy, take it slow, make it step by step. Don't be disappointed if something is not going as you expect it to be. Just be brave enough to step up again and to find your place in our wonderful community.
What are your future plans in the community?
That's a good question. I'm working on my blog, the kinkinside.com blog. So I try to spread the word through my blog and to write down my experiences, to make book recommendations about gay novels, about BDSM experience things and like that. So I want to still spread the word. I still want to educate the people. I want to be present. I want to be around. I want to talk to people. I want to involve people. For me, it's also very important. I want to be the person that I needed when I was younger. When I was maybe 16, 17, 18 years old, I should have had a Thorsten in full leather walking the street during the parade. And I was looking at him and thought, okay, I will talk to him. And he would have encouraged me earlier to be who I am. So I always try to be that person. And I'm happy when I'm joining a parade like now in Pride Month, and people are coming up and asking, for example, about the leather flag. What is the meaning of the leather flag? And then you start a conversation and you can talk to the people and involve them. And that's what I want to be. That's where I see my role. I want to talk to everyone. I want to be there for everyone and involve everyone and motivate the people, inspire the people to be a part of us, because we need younger people. We need everyone. We need the people wearing their leather, which is at home in a wardrobe, and come to the events, because that's what our community is. If everyone has a huge collection of leather gear in the wardrobe, but never wears it, only a few times when he's having some visitors, for example, we don't develop as a community. Everyone has to be a part of it. So we can say, I want leather events, and I am a part of the leather event, and I know that there will be leather events because other guys will come as well, and we will have a great time all the time. We meet each other, and not only going to big events like Darklands in Belgium or Thorsten in Berlin, but also go to the smaller events, cherish that the leather clubs are doing their thing, and respect their work and be a part of it, and have a great time discovering new places in Europe, new places in the US, smaller events, new people. That's the thing I always want to motivate the people doing.
What's the biggest misconception about you?
I'm not a sir, and I'm not dominant. Because whenever I'm posting some things on my Instagram, it's always like, yes, I want to be down on my knees for you, sir, and yes, sir, and sure, sir. I'm not a sir. I'm more a sub. I'm more submissive. I know my postings are. I have a very, very dominant attitude and a very dominant appearance, but I'm not much. I can be, but I prefer to be on the other side, and I prefer to be submissive. And that's, I think, the biggest misconception when you see a photo of me. It's something I really like, because I like to wear my leather uniform, but I like to be commanded to strip down and to be naked and to surf. That's maybe really the biggest misconception that makes me always smile when I read the comments and when I get messages.
Well, Thorsten Buhl, thank you for an amazing interview for Inside Leather History, a Fireside Chat.
Doug, thank you for having me. It's a big pleasure. As you see, I like to talk about it, and it's a really big pleasure being part of your great series. Thanks a lot.